Sent to an abandoned hotel in search of a missing girl, Private Eye Ben O'Hara is in for one hell of a fright. Ghost at Dawn comes out today, and I had the honor of playing it early thanks to the mysterious solo developer at Blue and Red Games. Also, shout out to Falling Hurts, whose video originally put this one on my radar. This game is true survival horror in every way you could imagine, but that doesn't mean it's just another Resident Evil clone with no personality. No, Ghost at Dawn is something special, and my 4-hour playthrough was absolutely an experience to remember. Let's start with the gameplay and atmosphere. This is very obviously a noir-inspired setting, which makes sense since it takes place in 1947. The use of bold colors and especially black and white makes some parts of the game extremely scary, like the dark corners of a room and the glowing whites of Ben's eyes. Right from the get-go, the tone is moody, and suspense quickly builds as you try to get your bearings. And like any horror game, it's these beginning moments before you really know what threats you'll be up against that are the most frightening. Before you unlock the big guns, so to speak, and it's just you and your trusty arm searching for answers. This game does cover some dark themes like abuse, self-harm, and some World War II imagery, so check out the full list on Steam before playing it if that's something you're worried about. Tutorials are presented with these eerie handwritten scribbles floating around the hotel, which totally fits the atmosphere, but it is possible to miss a few of them or just kinda be at the wrong angle to properly read them. But you can just go into settings and look at the controller layout if you forget something, and the button mapping is just about what you'd expect. As is the exploration. There are locked doors, and then there are keys for those doors. Simple. I wouldn't say that there are really any puzzles, as every item has a very obvious use, and most keys are labeled with the name of the room that it'll unlock. There is one kind of item or clue that you get which does require you to remember a short encounter you had before, and I'll admit I did wander around for a while before piecing it all together. There's definitely some backtracking you'll have to do, as the level layout is fairly compact, and if you didn't bring the right item with you, you will have to trek back to the lobby or the elevator quite frequently. Not a bad thing at all, but I know that some people just don't like this. Because of this though, you do get to know the hotel map quite intimately, but for some reason I always got the east and west mixed up, so maybe you should actually use your map. You have a limited inventory, and the workaround for this is a very clever dumbwaiter system. It can be accessed from all floors from both the eastern and western wings of the hotel. It also plays this absolutely terrifying sound every time you call it. You'll open up the hotel section by section by finding the right key or item, and all the exploration did feel really well paced, aside from a few times where I got stuck. Usually I'd just look up a walkthrough to figure out where the missing key is, but there aren't any walkthroughs yet. I actually reached out to the developer on Twitter who so graciously pointed me in the right direction, so thank you for that. This is just a reminder to comb every room carefully so you don't have to waste your time wandering around aimlessly. Going along with the usual survival horror shenanigans, Ghost at Dawn uses fixed camera angles. A lot of them are tilted and unsettling, cleverly used to hide certain elements in a room until you walk into the next frame. This also works against the game by hiding a ton of enemy encounters. This doesn't necessarily sound like a bad thing since it's supposed to be a scary game, so having enemies lurking off the screen definitely adds to that. But a lot of times I'd end up walking into a room and my controller would start vibrating, as it does when you're close to an enemy. My natural instinct is to shoot before they get too close and kill me. So I'm standing in the corner of the room, blindly shooting until my controller stops vibrating. This ended up making later combat sections not scary at all because you can kinda just clear the whole place out while standing in the corner next to the door. Speaking of combat, your guns will automatically aim towards the nearest enemy when you're holding it up, so you don't have to worry about aiming. You can still get overwhelmed though if there are multiple ghosts coming towards you and you're not able to fire off your shots quickly enough. Health in the game is tied to your mental state rather than physical wounds. Let an enemy get too close or stay in the dark for too long and Ben will start to panic. You can even see how he's doing in the inventory screen, which is a nice touch. Naturally, you can consume alcohol and cigarettes to calm down, which are relatively easy to come by, as is ammo, which you're very unlikely to ever run out of, especially considering the auto-aiming feature I mentioned. Now, you'll find out very quickly that Ben only has a certain number of lives. 5, in fact, and you can see where you stand by heading over to these candles. There's kind of a workaround solution to that the game provides you with, but I'll let you figure that out for yourself. And you really can end the game whenever you want by reporting back to your client, but leaving before you truly solve the case isn't any fun, is it? All in all, Ghost at Dawn is a scary game, and although I think it could stand to lose a few of the jump scares, it's exactly the kind of survival horror experience I was looking to play around Halloween. I absolutely love the atmosphere and music. This combination of noir detective and anime style characters and animation. Exploring the hotel was fun, tense, and rewarding, so long as you don't mind backtracking and sometimes janky movement. I just might have to play through it again to try and get a different ending because I had a very curious item pop up in my inventory upon starting a new game. Are you brave enough to face the ghosts and uncover this dark mystery before the dawn comes?